A very good morning. Much thanks for joining us right here on the program. This is the Morning Drift coming to you right here. And of course, you can keep up with our conversations this morning as we will be letting you know what's happening across the dailies, what's trending across all social media platforms, and from the newsroom today at Lookuptv on Twitter, Lookuptv on Facebook, and Lookuptv on our YouTube channel. And I'm not alone. Hey, Simba.
Good morning, Nelima. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. There's a lot of rain currently happening across the country, by the way. Have we now forgotten about the conversations on drought in this country? Or this short rain period that we're experiencing right now have sort of made us forget where we were just 2 weeks ago? Are there conversations around what we need to do to harvest the rains that are currently going to waste in different parts of the country? Even right now as we speak, the relief food distribution, by the way, is still ongoing from the national government to the various places in the country that have been affected by drought. So it's not going to be an immediate reaction of our agriculture sector, because we do expect that they're going to take effect maybe in 3 or so months. Nelima, I gotta tell you, I had the privilege of driving all the way to Kajiado Sunday. Was it this week, isn't it? And indeed, the media reports that we keep on giving around here about how there are livestock that have been strewn all over the road just because of the severe effects of the drought. It is indeed true. You're driving along the road and you see zebras that have been affected by hunger, and you see herds of cattle that are just spawned all over the road because then the owners didn't have anything to feed them. Quite gory images indeed. And you're thinking, am I in Kenya? Yes, you are in Kenya. Anyway, a lot of other things happen regards the insecurity levels in the CBD.
Right, Professor Kithure Kindiki has assured that he's on top of things, as well as the Inspector General of Police, Japhet Kome. But Nairobi residents say they are yet to feel that impact. Cracked. There's still videos, okay. But you know, Simba, again, all videos that we see across different social media platforms, we just can't trust them. Yeah. You know, they could be backdated, but generally there is insecurity. So Kenyans say they're yet to feel the impact of that because many people are worried. I saw a coverage of a story where people are now saying they'll be tying their handbags to their bodies with a rope, because then if you just walk, you're going to lose it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, when it gets to that level, like we said, security starts with you, by the way. Just walk directly to where you're heading. After you're done, don't hover around. Be very conscious. Yeah, that's what they say. And somebody gave me this advice yesterday, Nelima. If you hear a motorbike, all right, coming from your back, please pull to the side of the road and watch. If you see it coming from your front, be ready to create space where you can run into that particular space. But then if you said you got to be very conscious, or people walking in groups of 2 or 3 and they look suspicious, then please turn around and go back, or be ready to jump into the next gate that is next to you. So that's exactly what you have to know.
We definitely have to be very vigilant, but of course also trust that the authorities are going to take charge of the situation. I remember yesterday, Simba, you mentioned how Kenyans are finding it hard when the Inspector General of Police gives the different hotspots. And shouldn't the police then now be making sure that there are no hotspots for crime,
isn't it?
And just to provide security in general? So that is what Kenyans and Nairobi residents, more specifically, are just waiting to see, because it is becoming difficult and the economy, we're struggling. So we don't need to lose the little that we have. That is the argument across different social media platforms. And so what you did say about the rains, there is a growing conversation on how we have been since independence, basically, that we know drought affects different regions in the country, different counties, the ASAL regions. And as well, when the rains come, then the floods could kill people as well. So the conversations around how we can harvest the rainwater, that is ongoing right now.
Pretty much. Now, this and many more, by the way, that we keep on giving to you. And I'm talking about the updates that then will follow into some of the stories, the levels of insecurity in the country, the rains that we're experiencing in the country as well. You must be sure that some of the stories are going to make their way into the newsroom and part of the conversations that we have right here at Lookuptv. For now, we take a tiny breather right here on the Morning Drift. Once we come back, Nelima and I will be taking you straight to your newspapers this morning so we can get to answer the question what it is that you are waking up to this morning. In as much as your dailies are concerned, remember, be part and parcel of this conversation at Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. I am at Kiage Simba on Twitter, Nelima.
And I am at Nelima Nancy. Engage with us, let us keep. You let us know where you are watching as from. We take a break and we come back with dailies.
Back. This is the Morning Drift. Now, let me say something, Nelima, just before we get into the headlines.
Right.
When it tends to rain in the morning, does it affect the energy levels of people around you? Does your body tend to recognize that things are not really that favorable around it?
I think probably people get agitated.
Yeah.
Movement is hard, there's traffic.
Yeah, yeah.
There are motorbikes everywhere that could knock you over. So I think it's just the agitation. So the mood is all a little sulky.
Yes.
But we have to push through, don't we?
Yeah, sort of puts a damper generally. But guess what? We are blessed to have it. Now, let's jump into the newspapers this morning. And I do know, Nelima, you do have the Standard. What are the headlines?
Right, and on the front page of the Standard, then the focus is on the CDF, the Constituency Development Fund by the national government. So this has been making headlines, Simba, because the Supreme Court ruled the 2013 CDF fund as unclear, 2015 one as unclear. So then, the ball is on the Attorney General's court as well, and we'll be looking to see what Justice Muturi will say, because the Treasury says it is awaiting and ready to begin the disbursing of 2 billion shillings cash weekly, subject to legal advice. Yeah. So we are expecting the AG. It could trigger a clash, because if then the Attorney General, Justice Muturi, plays a different tune from the judiciary, which is the Supreme Court, and the directive was given by Chief Justice Martha Koome, ruling the CDF 2013 as unconstitutional and the 2015 one as unclear. So that is highly debated in Parliament, and we'll be looking to get the directive of the Attorney General, if he's going to speak the same language with the Chief Justice Martha Koome or not, and will that now create a standoff? That is just one of the stories that are going to be making headlines today, and we are following it up for you in our newsrooms. As well, Simba, there is a photo of President William Ruto and billionaire tycoon Bill Gates at State House. Remember, Bill Gates is in the country overseeing different projects. He was in Ukambani region for the mother and child health care, and as well as other businesses in the country. The GMO as well, conversation around it. So we'll be following closely and, of course, letting you in on what the conversation with the president was all about. Simba, and as I flip over, and the Standard, I think this is actually in your desk, Simba. Yeah. Oyagara, who is the former CEO of KCB, now moves to South African-owned Stanbic Bank.
Yeah.
Right.
Where's
So
gonna
those are
head,
just some of the stories that are making headlines on the Standard, as well, Simba, as the teachers' unions clash over junior secondary funding of education under the CBC, the competency-based curriculum, which of course the task force has finished the round of public participation and they are tabling the report. But there is a clash with the unions of the teachers, that is the NAT and CUPET, on how the funding of the junior secondary high, remember this is new, the first class is expected to begin in January of 2023. And of course, as the construction of the classes is now in its final stages, then the funding of that education now is in question. NAT wants junior secondary learners to be retained in primary schools, while CUPET says the curriculum for the junior secondary is designed for secondary school level. So there's a bit of a standoff, but seeing that the task force on the CBC is still doing its job, then we'll be able to get, I beg your pardon, a clearer picture as we go on.
Pretty much. Now, some of the stories that you're mentioning, Nelima, right there, have been also covered by the Daily Nation. But the big headline, by the way, Nelima, on the Daily Nation is how Jubilee's 32 billion shillings laptop project flopped. Do you remember the campaign promises for the Jubilee government? Right. Every kid in primary school is going to have a laptop. Yeah. And they're talking about digital era. And you remember back in 2013 when they came in office.
The campaign promises.
That's it, we're the young president. So everything is digital. There was this bigger one of the 32 billion laptop project, by the which never materialized. And some CSs were in this government right now. I'm not just going to start mentioning names on it. Have been allegedly blamed for the failure of this project, because the government did spare some money aside for it, but then where are they? That's the story that the Daily Nation has covered on page 7. And remember, this was the former retired president, who's William Ruto. They promised to give each child who enrolled in school a laptop. Now, this is what they're saying. On paper, it was well laid out, initiative to turn children into digital citizens. But on the ground, like they say, things were different. All right, so read into that story and you will see exactly how they've broken it down. They're talking about how 22,891 installed schools, as the primary schools, and Pioneer that were targeted to get into this project. The Pioneer targeted in this one were completing Form 1 now as we speak, by the way. Nelima, those who were targeted are now completing Form 1.
Right.
So they will never get to see it, even if they decide to turn this around. So read into that story and at page 7 of the Daily Nation. And we covered this story as well right here on Lookuptv. Our Ruto has set a trap for Raila and Kalonzo in Iala race. Now, here's the thing. We do expect that the debate and voting is going to happen today, isn't it?
Right, of course, it is happening in Parliament.
Yes, in Parliament.
Yesterday, President William Ruto met with the UDA party members and, of course, those who have been nominated to be members of the East African Legislative Assembly. So those nominations will be going down in Parliament today. And, of course, that is a story, Simba, that we are following up in the newsroom.
That's it, by the way. Now, Nelima, the fallout they're talking about here is how there have been already divisions within ODM as to why one name that has the Odinga attached to it has been nominated by. This might be the division that the president might use in his favor as the voting process is going to take place.
Well, Simba, that is a good point. But as well, there was the Jubilee party members who were complaining then that within the Azimio umbrella, that ODM and there is Wiper as well, fronting people and leaving Jubilee party members out. So could there be a rift in Azimio with those nominations? That is something that could be. But we are waiting to see.
We're going to see exactly how that goes, isn't it? On the sidelines of that as well, we do have the story of the Kasarani building tragedy, that has already killed 3 after building collapsed. Nelima, on the silence of that, there was a very moving story about the lady who was supplying food to the builders in that construction.
Right.
So the news is that she was in court all the way up to the time that her phone could not handle the charge anymore and went off. Then later on, they did realize that because of that break in communication, they could not rescue her. And so she's one of the victims of this particular tragedy. Now, here's the thing. The building, according to the contractors,
right,
was actually red flagged because it did not follow the protocol, that's the building code of the county, and that's Nairobi County. But then the question is, how many of these are not safe? Being built in Nairobi are not safe, that they need to calm down. With Sakaja saying, we are tired of this now, we're going to hunt them. So are we going to say 3 in 10 buildings in Nairobi going to be brought down in the next couple of days, Nelima? Is that what we're going to see?
Yeah, you know, this is a very scary trend, Simba.
Yeah.
And just looking at how many storied buildings have actually fallen in the last only 2 months, Simba.
Yeah, by the way.
Then it is alarming indeed.
It is alarming.
And of
Somebody's
course,
sleeping on their job.
Right. The relevant authorities, and we've seen Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja then saying that this will be at the heart of his mission, that is going to make sure that all procedures are followed by landowners, homeowners, building owners, and of course even the relevant authorities, is to make sure that the buildings are up to standard.
Yeah.
But I've seen a conversation, Simba, critics arguing that with corruption, then buildings will keep falling in Nairobi. So where does all this end? So we'll be looking to see how the standard is going to be, say, lifted.
Yeah.
Because then people need to be safe.
Yeah, but those are some of the things that we're going to cover. By the way, just before we move into what is trending this morning, quickly on that, the last page of the Daily Nation has a headline of about how Azimio members of parliament have slumped Hustlers Fund loan caps. We'll be telling you about that. By the way, it's part of the trending topics this morning. So for right now, we take a tiny breather again. Once we come back, let's go online and talk about what it is that you're waking up to this morning in terms of your trends. Welcome back to the Morning Drift. My name is Simba Charles Kiage, in case you're just joining us. I am also with Nancy Nelima this morning. Let's jump into what is trending this morning. Now, Nancy, this is where I want us to pick it from. So the last page of the Daily Nation has that particular headline, and right, Kenyans have gone online just to talk about this particular one. Let me read for you this tweet by Mohammed Walie. Hustler Fund is that the ticket size is too small. I see folks comparing it with Fuliza and other mobile lending facilities, but these are pre-approved overdrafts that hustlers use to manage liquidity. On the other hand, Hustler Fund loans are capital loans to start. Or we didn't get to complete that tweet, but especially we've got his message. Now, Nelima, here's the thing. It is capped at 50,000 maximum amount in Kenyan shillings that an individual or business can borrow from the Hustlers Fund. And then they say interest rates of 8% per annum for Hustlers Fund loans. Your views on that? Is it too small? Really? Nelima, I mean, yeah, it's like Fuliza, isn't it?
Right, but Simba, remember, the focus of the president as well as the Kenya Kwanza Brigade, even during the campaigns, was to benefit, to target the so-called hustlers, the ones who don't make much, maybe they don't have regular income, then that this fund will secure them so that they will get it. And of course, now that the conversation changed into the growing interest. But I'd say 50,000 is fair, because this is a target for hustlers. Or maybe then the term hustler needs to be well explained and defined. Because then who is a hustler? Because of course the president calls himself a hustler, as well as the deputy president and even the cabinet secretaries that are new in office right now. So maybe that word is pretty relative. Now that some people don't understand, if 50,000 is too little, But for a hustler, real hustler by definition, then 50,000 could be just about right, Simba.
Could be just about right, isn't it? But question is, just before we move to the next one quickly, then just before we take a break, question is, Nelima, 50,000 bob, what business can you start with that capital?
I guess there are a lot of businesses.
Which one?
There is.
Yeah, well, of course. To dignify the hustlers, isn't it? Help them raise capital for proper businesses.
Okay.
And at 50,000, I think you're quite limited, and that's what Mohammed Walia right there is trying to say, that the ticket is too small. Yeah. In case if you and I wanted to start a business,
the president had fronted even during the campaigns was the Mamamboga and the Boda Boda guy.
Yeah.
But a motorbike does not go for 50,000 shillings. So
slightly higher.
Then will those hustlers be catered for within the hustlers' fund? How effective is it going to be? That is the big question, Simba.
And they're saying that the minimum is 500?
Right.
So there is a, of course, the business you could start with 500 shillings, by the way, as capital. Yeah. But is that going to dignify the hustlers in the country? So, question for another day.
Right, and I think that is a conversation that we need to invite even members of parliament from the Kenya Kwanza Brigade, or even the president himself, and just get to find out how this exactly is going to be working.
Trust me, there's a local foundation around that. Now let's move on to the next one, and I think we've covered it right here on our Lookuptv. Now, this is Al Jazeera, who picked exactly what has been happening in the country, where the Kenyan President William Ruto has urged legislators not to remove presidential term limits from the country's constitution. Nelima, they say there's no smoke without fire. Are we saying that this particular motion that was proposed in Parliament just a couple of days ago did not have the fire?
Right. You know, Simba, that is, I don't know, they call it a catch-22.
What's that?
Because MPs from the Kenya Kwanza Brigade just saying that is just looking for attention. It is a... But as well, on the flip side, then we saw another part of the saying that this is not a joke. It could start off as a joke, but could create something even bigger of the Ugandan politician. Bobby,
that is Muhoozi.
Is it Bobby Wine?
Was that Bobby Wine? Yeah,
yes.
It was Bobby Wine, isn't it?
Yeah. We saw him talk about, you know, he has been in the opposition before and of course struggled a lot with even physical attacks from the government at the time. So he warned Kenyans that this an end, and then we ought to be careful. So that is a conversation, Simba, that we are going to see how it unfolds. And the president did say yesterday that let's not talk about extending the presidential term limits. That's a non-issue. That's not important. So some people are saying, oh, the president is not with it. Or could he just, is informed about it, and it's a conversation that could come back later. So I guess we'll just have to see.
I'm telling you, there's no smoke without fire. There has to be some fire somewhere. That's what I'm saying. With some members actually who are allied to his party saying we support, but just let's hear what the conversation is about. You saw that, isn't it?
Right, but Simba, remember, this is it's a democracy. Kenya is a democracy, and we have come from far. From 1992, when Kenya became a multi-party state, and before that, then there were fighters for the same. People lost their lives for multi-partyism, and so, in the spirit of democracy, we'll see democracy carries the day at the end of the day.
I will tell you that now. Guess what? We take a tiny breather right here on the Morning Drift. Once we come back, I'll be taking you straight to the newsroom so we can see some of the biggest headlines that you're waking up to this morning. Some of the stories that we're talking about here actually going to take center stage. But for now, I'll see you shortly.
Hi there, good morning. good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching us from. My name is Maggie Wambogo, Sales Manager, Lookuptv Real Estate, and I'm here at our head office, Absa Towers, located at Reuters Street. Today, I'm here to talk about our newest project, that is Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki, and it is located only 10 minutes drive from Cedar Mall. And in this project, we have proposed that we will be having a GMC Entertainment Center. This will be a replica of what we have in Kitengela, GMC Kitengela. We are also proposing a police post, so you are assured that security, once you invest here, security is good. And we are also proposing to have a playing ground. So once you invest here, you don't have to worry about the security. The other things, among the things that we are doing, or the things that we have done already in Great Oasis Gardens, we have already done the marking fence, and the roads, the internal roads are already happening. We have started the malaming the road, and we are still in the process of doing the malaming of the internal roads. And we are also sinking a borehole so that we ensure that our investors in Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki, will not struggle with water. We are also going to elevate a water tower so that we have a constant supply of water in this project. And we also have a caretaker on site. The caretaker is on site and he's there 24/7. And then we also have different sizes in this project. We are having 8, we are having quarters, we are having halves, and we are also having acres. One can buy in bulk, you can buy in big chunks, and that is why we are saying in Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki, we are saying that bigger is better. In this project, what you can invest in, you can invest in private schools, you can also do holiday homes, whereby you can do Airbnb, you can also do holiday homes and then you start renting, and you can also build houses and sell. You can also do apartments in this area. You can also do supermarkets. You can also build a mall and then you start renting. There is so much that you can do in this project because it is not controlled development. We are also located along Nanyuki Rumuruti Road, and this road is being proposed to be tarmacked by the government. So coming from Nanyuki, or coming from wherever you be coming from, it will be very easy to access the project because it is touching the Nanyuki Rumuruti Road, which is going to be tarmacked by the government. My number is +25 behind. Call that number. I will work with you. If you're in Kenya, give me a call. We go for the site visit. We select the project. We start the payment. If you're in diaspora, send a representative, and I will be delighted to work with you. And as we say here in Lookuptv, we shine because you make us shine. God bless you. Thank you.
The new Kasarani Sportsview Hotel is a state-of-the-art hotel located well-equipped and boardrooms accommodating up to 1,000 people. We have elegant, spacious and well-appointed rooms with several types to choose from to meet your needs. Feast on well-marinated nyama choma at the Nyama Choma Ranch and a variety of other a la carte and buffet options. Our health club consists of the gym, steam bath, saunas and swimming. Kids' activities include a bouncing castle, train, swings, trampolines, among others. Bring to life the event of your dreams at our beautiful events gardens with a capacity of up to 3,000 people. 0111 02 4700